Good morning. How are you today? Well, welcome back to Haven Hill Homestead. It is a beautiful, beautiful July day. We are having this gorgeous cool spell the last couple of days where it's, mid 70s, which is very unusual for us. So we are enjoying it today. Today, I am trying to fling all the windows open in my house. And I am doing some major purging today. As I'm doing that, I'm actually going to take you with me on a little bit of that, but not in this video. So stay tuned, it's coming. I'm actually getting ready to purge about half of my closet, and I'll tell you more about that. And I think it will be the next video, but I'm not quite sure. But as I'm doing that, and I'm getting ready to purge some things because we have some big changes coming with school this next year. That is another video coming. And then I have a series of really short videos. I was bombarded with really wonderful questions from the homeschool video that I did with my son. So I thought I would just address those in little short snippets, particularly for the young mom that is either not homeschooling or wanting to homeschool or feeling led to but doesn't know where to start. And then also the different age groups. But I'm saying all of that because as I was getting ready to go purge, I was going through a basket of things that I keep for my son, particularly for situations where he needs to be quiet, often at church, but we've been to weddings and funerals and I bring this type of thing as well. So I thought, you know what, I've had a few moms ask me about this. Why don't I just quickly do a video for you to show you, give you ideas, hopefully inspire you with just some really simple things that you can do, particularly for your kids when they need to be quiet in certain situations, and that work for even very high active boys. Actually, before I do that, I should tell you, if you are new in this space, I am a mom of 8. Ages of my kids are ranging from 3 to almost 21. And about every couple of years, we have a few that are a little bit, or a couple that are, a little bit more, and then a few that are really close together. And I love it so much. It's wild and crazy at times, but I absolutely love it. And God saw fit to give me 2 boys in particular that are extremely high energy. All of my boys have lots of energy, but 2 in particular are very high. And these things that I'm going to show you have worked even for my most highly active boys on down, when I can tell they need some sort of active stimulation. My oldest son, he just graduated high school. He talks a little bit about that in the homeschool. And I'm sorry, it wasn't just homeschool. We talked about his education because he experienced public school, private school, and homeschool. And he walked through the values of each one for his personality type and his school experience. So I'm going to tag that video below. If you are a mom of young boys that have a lot of energy, he actually gave even me some really good insights that I had not heard him say before that I thought was so good. And several of these things I used with him, but I've actually used them for all of our kids in some capacity. So let's get to it. All right, so here's what I do. When we are headed to church, actually, most of the time I keep this big basket with this little basket inside of it. Most of the time I keep this in my van. I find that if he doesn't have access to these things, my youngest son in particular, if he doesn't have access to them all of the time, then it's like every time I pull them out, he's mesmerized by them, at least for a little bit of time. So usually I always keep it full up in here because we're still, just in case. So in this little basket, this is great because I sometimes don't want to take the huge one. So I can just take this out. We always have cars. All of my boys, even my very active ones, love cars. Some of them like the smaller ones, some of them like the bigger ones. So I just put a variety of cars in here, tractors. And if I ever find them at like a little thrift store, or even when I'm just out and about, sometimes I'll put new ones in there that he doesn't even know, and then he sees it. He likes that a lot. Cars, I am a huge fan of cars like that. I do have this little fidget spinner. You can get this on Amazon. I will link it. This was fun for a little bit of time, but I found my older kids actually liked it more. So that is a fun one. I don't know if it's actually called a fidget spinner. I don't really know what it's called. That's what I called it. So then what else I have in here is just a little Noah's Ark book. I don't know why. All of my kids love this book. It's a tiny little flip book, or flip the flap, whatever. Lift a flap. You guys, a little flat book. It's taped because it has been well loved by all of my kids. It even has a price tag on it. This must have been 99 cents at like somewhere, I don't know. Anyway, very great. I will try to tag the person. I do not remember exactly where I got these. These are little magnetic animals, so they can stand up. They're great for quiet situations. Actually, we have some little guys in here that don't have magnets on them. This is really great, and he loved this for a while. So now he is 3, he'll be 4 in January, so he's, just 3.5. He likes this, but it's usually for a short time. So I'll keep it in here. I don't feel like this is his go-to anymore, but it was for a while. And then I did these many years ago for my second youngest son. His name is Shad. He just turned 8 earlier this week. These are just pictures with fun pictures of our family with fun papers behind them. And I laminated them, put them on a ring. These have been literally through the ringer, but I throw those in there, and sometimes I like flipping through those. It's like their own little photo album, but they don't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about anything happening to them. So that's what this little basket looks like. So if we're in, I don't have a lot of time, I just quick grab this. That's all I grab, and we're good to go. I always have pen and paper in my purse as well. But now what I want to show you, I never keep all of these in this basket, but I usually throw 2 or 3 in. I'm going to show you some of the best books that I have ever found for quiet situations, even for my children that probably would be on the ADHD charts somewhere. Actually, I'm confident that they would be, particularly my oldest son, and he talks about that in that video as well. Okay, so I found these 2 books. They are sticker books. They're technically reusable. My guess is they probably won't be very much for our family, but that's okay. I always have one of these in there. Little hands trying to pull stickers off is a very tactile thing. It takes him a long time to get them off. It's a challenge for him, and he's very engaged in it. So my high active boys absolutely do very well with sticker books when I just let them do it. They have to figure it out. And even if they ask for help, I usually just encourage them, no, you can do it. You can do it. They like that. So I have 2 of these, and I always just put 1 in there. I have this 1 Million Insects book. I will try to link all of these. I just on Amazon. Great for boys and girls, but your little boys, they like all the little gross, what we call gross little insects. This kept him busy last Sunday. Then I have this Hidden Habitats Earth book. It is also a flap book. They have a water one as well. He was loving this on Sunday. He did not want my help with the flaps at all, and he did really well with it. He liked it. Every once in a while he would ask me what an animal was. We're teaching him to whisper in church. It took us probably a solid month, I feel like, with him to teach him, no, you have to whisper. No, you have to whisper. And he's doing really well with it. Just the consistency every week working on it, it really pays off. I just believe that children they have the ability to learn how to sit in church and be quiet, or to be at a wedding and be quiet, or a funeral. And that doesn't mean that they have to be quiet perfectly. That is impossible when you're 3, but they have a great capacity. So I really like working with my kids with this. With my oldest 2, I did not do it near as much as I did, just because I don't know why. I just wasn't even on my radar. But with all the other ones, I want them to be able. But every time I found that I put the consistent effort into teaching them, that I was confident we could go into any situation and I wasn't going to be anxious about it, because I knew that they have the ability to be quiet. They have the ability to listen. They have the ability to find something to do quietly. And that is important for every single one of us to learn that lesson. And I think that they can learn it at a very young age. Okay, so now here is my number one, I would say, mom hack for keeping highly active or not active children engaged and busy, and if they need to be, quiet, without a screen. Are you ready for it? Where's Waldo? And I am not kidding. There's other I Spy books as well. My oldest son said this was huge for him. Where's Waldo kept him engaged and busy, and his eyes were stimulated, because some children can get overstimulated by a book like this. But if you have a highly active boy, they are not going to be overstimulated. In fact, it's probably going to be exactly what they need. And I am floored by how even my 3-year-old can open up a page like this. It takes me forever to find Waldo, and sometimes I can't, and he can find them. I am a huge fan of Where is Waldo for highly active boys. I'm gonna just shout it from the rooftops. But it's, like I said, it's not just for my high active boys. All of my children have loved Where's Waldo, or like I said, there's I Spy books as well. So I try to always have one of these in the basket, in my car, with me at all times. I try very hard to never rely on a screen in a situation where I can tell he needs to stay busy. What happens then? And I've seen it, because I did have one son for a time that I did do that a little bit more than what I normally would. And what I found it did, yeah, it worked. It kept him quiet, but then he became addicted to it very, very quickly. He was asking for a screen all of the time. And instead of just allowing his personality to still come through while he's learning to be quiet, it just numbed him. It just, I did not like what I saw, even if I was picking really good, wholesome things. So I'm not against screens and different types of usages for them, but I will avoid them at all costs, particularly with young kids, and I will pick things like this instead. So anyway, I'm not trying to make any type of parenting political statement for or against screens, other than the fact that I think we have to be so careful. And when I see my kids numbing out, vegging out, with a screen in front of their face, it kills me, because it's like you're missing out on so much. And there's a lot of growth that can happen when you learn to flip through books and use your imagination with cars. My 3-year-old's imagination is so vivid, and it's really, really neat to watch. So other things that I always have snacks in my basket, always very, very important. I just pick quiet snacks. He knows that they're in there, and I always encourage him in church to, no, you can't wait. You can't have a snack until the sermon starts, or until the longest part starts, because it's good to use that to our advantage, because it takes him just a little bit. I'll just pick something quiet. He loves fruit snacks. We'll do crackers, maybe a little granola bar, something like that. Something that he doesn't have very often, so he looks forward to it. And yeah, my girls, so when they were younger, sometimes I would have something like this, but I found my girls were wonderful with a set of markers or pens and a beautiful notebook. They didn't care near as much about this type of thing, but if they could color and doodle, and if their notebook was something that they could pick out and their colors were working well, that was what they love. And my girls still will do that in church, and they do really well with that. So anyway, I hope that's encouraging to you. Like I said, I hope you feel inspired that it's totally possible to teach your very young kids. And we started doing this when he was 2. That they can be quiet, that they can learn to be quiet, and it still is good, and that they can have fun while they're being quiet for a very short time, really. And then as soon as church or wherever we're at is done, you can go run around and be crazy and wild. But here, this is where you're going to have to learn to be quiet. So anyway, I hope it's inspiring to you. I hope you feel encouraged. And I hope you feel encouraged that it, like I said, that it is absolutely possible to do it. It just takes consistency. So, all right, off to organizing. Stay tuned. I'm excited for this video. I'm excited for what I think it's going to produce in all of us. So, all right, have a good one.